Well, nice to be here with you, Tara, in Forestville and out by the gardens. And we're going to pick some herbs. And I understand you're going to make us a cocktail today.
I am going to make you a cocktail today. A delicious cocktail, I hope.
Tell us a little bit about how you got started in the cocktail world, and and then I want to talk about Dukes and that idea, the big idea that became a bigger idea, and all that. Yeah.
Like most bartenders, I was bartending to do something else. I was putting myself through school, art school. I have one semester left before I have a fine arts degree, by the way. It's been on hold for a few years now. But I was always, in the service industry since I was 14, but it was always to do something else. Art, something I really, really cared about. And I ended up finding a type of bartending that I find very creative and artistic when I first started at Spoonbar. And I was part of the opening team there. Scott Beatty had a local farm that was growing all of these herbs and edible flowers, and I ended up taking over the cultivation part of the bar, and I was growing all of the herbs and flowers for it. And that kind of turned it into, I just want to do this now. Growing ingredients and turning them into super nerdy, weird combinations and making people really happy, making people go, I can't believe you mixed that with booze and I'm drinking it. It was just a very, very cool feeling. And then I ended up finding best friends doing that. And then we decided to open up our own space. And so then it was just like, okay, we've made our home and we live here now and we get to do whatever we want.
Do you find the most creative part is like the creating the drinks, and like, is it all herbal? How does it relate in your mind to the spirits themselves?
From a mixing perspective, it can start with something as simple as this really, really cool appetizer that we all had together at some new crazy cool restaurant around. Or it can start with a spirit. It can start with, I've never grown this herb before, and oh my God, what are we going to do with this now that we have it? But it is very much, inspired in like a culinary sense in a way that I'm sure that you can relate to, where it's like, how do we take this and turn this really crazy cool idea we have? Let's say it's an 11 ingredient cocktail. How do we make that have the like clean, pristine, balanced flavor that a 3 ingredient cocktail has? I think at Duke's we try to really push it though. We're really trying to take something and make it as weird and as cool as possible. Like we're going to be doing a yellow plum cocktail today, but that wasn't enough. I had to grow the plums. We had to use a centrifuge and clarify it, make our own particle removed cordial, and then mix it with our homemade burdock bitters. We always want to be the people that are like, well, we can make it. And no one made good enough tonic water for us, so let's make our own tonic water. Everything is, how do we have our own personal touch in every part of what we're doing?
So you're going to make this cocktail for us?
Yeah, let's make the drink.
All right, sounds good. Let's go.
We have Junipero Gin. This is a hoteling company, formerly known as Anchor CM Distilling. So this is made in San Francisco. We have our clarified yellow plum cordial from the plums from the tree.
From the trees. Yeah.
And actually, you should probably taste this just by itself.
I think I should. I should taste this.
It's important. So clarification changes everything. Sometimes you want a cocktail to taste like velvet. Sometimes you want it to taste like silk. This removes particles. So we use a centrifuge, high spin, and it removes all the particles from the fruit.
Right.
And then we fortify it, add organic sugar. That's it. We are also going to be using shiso from the garden. So it's towards the end of the shiso season. I'm clinging desperately. It's my favorite cocktail herb. I'm going to give a couple quick little cracks, nothing that's going to pulverize, just to release our flavor. We are going to add our delicious San Francisco made gin. There are very few cocktails I make that don't have some form of fortified wine in there, and Dolin Blanc is one of my crutches.
Dolin Blanc.
French Blanc vermouth. Then we're going to do 1/3 of an ounce of our fresh squeezed lemon, pulp removed. If you're going to get as nerdy as to do 1/3 of an ounce of something, you can't have particles in the way. We're talking 100% acid. Little plug, homemade bitters that we make at Duke's. We've just started selling them.
So these are the burdock bitters?
These are the burdock bitters. Yeah. So burdock is actually growing right over there and there and there. It likes to get into all my nooks and crannies. But it's also, oh yeah, there it is. It's right there. I'm going to do 3 dashes. Ice and shake.
Okay, here's the big question though. Is it bartender or mixologist?
I knew we were going to come to this. The M word. It's a funny thing because I feel like it's this very kind word paying homage to something that I consider an art form. Where we come to a problem with it is because I come from a crew of bartenders where we're coming from a perspective of when that term bartender was coined, it was a very legitimate, artful, cool profession that
Right.
didn't need another word. So when you think mixologist, sometimes it's like you've got the monocle and you've got the vest and you've got I brought my own ice. And it's like this whole thing where like we also at Duke's were like, if you come in dirty coveralls, I can't wait to like pour you a shot and a beer. We want to make every person's day. And we want to be funny and weird. And we want to keep it casual and cool, you know, make someone feel like, oh my God, I just had this like really cool experience and there was like no pretension whatsoever, but I also got my brain just a little turned upside down because did you garnish that with a pickled radish? What are you doing? Like it's that kind of thing, you know?
Someone told me too, it's like the difference between a bartender and a mixologist is a $14 cocktail that's now $26. So I don't know.
You will never see a $26 cocktail at Duke's. We all like drinking too much to do that to people.
Wow, that's delicious.
I'm so glad.
I might even have this one occasionally when I don't have my Negroni with Aperol.
I still have more Negroni with Aperol over here if you need it.